So welcome to video number 5, which will be day 2 of the sites of Sultan Ahmet for Istanbul for first-time visitors, or first-time travelers. So in this video, basically we're going to cover kind of the main sites we'd want to see on the second day in Sultan Ahmet. The first place will be the tomb of Sultans Mahmud II, Abdulhamid II, and Abdulaziz. The Beyazıt Meydani or Beyazıt Square, Süleymaniye, and the mosque of Fatih Sultan Mehmet. So before I start, 2 points which I have to mention. Number one, Uber is banned in Turkey. So there is no Uber in Turkey as of right now. I've forgotten to, I think I might have mentioned it in the video about arrival into Istanbul. There is no Uber in Turkey. Basically what happened, as has happened in many other metropolitan areas in the world, kind of the taxi union guilds and unions got together and protested, put pressure on the government. So what occurred is that in 2018, to get the votes of the cab drivers, of the cab driving guild in Istanbul for his re-election, President of Turkey, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, banned Uber in 2018. So there is no Uber in Turkey right now. So if you try to use your Uber app, it's not going to work. So it's not worth trying. Just completely rely on public transportation, on the trams, subways, Marmaray, ferry, and walking as well. The other thing is that I just wanted to mention is street food. There are 4 street foods which I specifically want to suggest. One is you'll see a lot of people selling roasted corn there, or for my Pakistani viewers, butta. They'll roast corn on the cob for you. You can tell the guy making it to put a certain spice and salt on it. I've never had it. My ex-wife did when we went. She enjoyed it. My son also enjoyed it also. But like for my Pakistani viewers, it's butta. So if you like butta, they have butta there. And the other thing which I especially like, and it's world famous, is simit. So simit is, some people call it a round thin bagel. I wouldn't even call it that. It's a round bread covered in sesame seeds. It's very delicious, especially if you have it with the delicious freshly squeezed Turkish orange juice, which is one of my favorites. You'll see simit being sold all over the place. Definitely have a simit when you're in Turkey. Also, there'll be many roadside stalls and shops selling freshly squeezed orange juice and freshly squeezed pomegranate or anar juice for my Pakistani viewers. Absolutely, you must have it there. You must have one of the two. There'll also be shops there selling bottled water as well, especially in the summer, which is a particularly a need. The other thing which you definitely want to have, especially in the wintertime, is something by the name of salep. So salep is a hot drink consisting, basically made from milk, cinnamon, and a crushed orchid root, which gives it kind of a thick consistency. It's absolutely delicious. It's worth having. You can get it on the street. You can get it in shops, but it's only during winter times in Turkey. It's not offered during the summer or springtime. If I don't think it's been offered in the fall. I think it's only offered in winter. So with that out of the way, the first stop on this second day in Sultan Ahmet is the tomb of Sultans Mahmud II, Abdulhamid II, and Abdulaziz. The reason I mention this, other beyond the fact that I'm personally, I was a history minor in college and took history of the Ottoman Empire, so I wanted to visit all the tombs of the Ottoman sultans. But the reason I bring this up is that, so in particular, so a little bit background, especially of the two more famous sultans. So Sultan Mahmud II was the Ottoman sultan who began to modernize the Ottoman Empire in the mid 1800s, 1840s, and 1830s, 1840s. So he changed the dress to a more European dress, abandoned Topkapi Palace for Dolmabahce Palace, introduced the fez as compared to the turban, uh, modernized the Turkish army, Ottoman Empire army by disbanding the Janissaries or Yenicheri to a more modern European style standing army. Sultan Abdulhamid II was the Ottoman Sultan who last really held effective power in the Ottoman Empire. Generally, historically, he's not looked upon well. His rule was considered despotic. The Ottoman Empire lost a lot of its European territories under his reign. So his reign, from the Turkish perspective, is not particularly seen as a particularly pleasant one. The only one, the first Ottoman Parliament did emerge during his reign, but like I said, historically, he's not looked upon as very well. The only thing which I mentioned in this tomb is that Sultan Abdulhamid II has kind of had a renaissance of interest in him, most particularly because there was a Turkish soap opera done about him in his reign, which is obviously being shown in Pakistan and other places of the world, dubbed in Urdu or other local languages. So it draws a lot of tourists there. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the tombs of the sultans are usually closed on Mondays. This tomb is open on Monday, but it's closed on Tuesday. Why, I don't know. I found out the hard way on my last visit in 2019. So when you go there, it is a tomb. So once again, make sure you have either a scarf, if you're a woman, have a scarf or a shawl, cover your hair when you enter the tomb. There are also many other tombs outside the main kind of tomb building, consisting of Ottoman notables or Ottoman government officials, and also recent deceased members of the Ottoman royal family. So that's your first stop. That's your first stop. The next stop will be the Beyazıt Meydani or Beyazıt Square. You can get there either two ways. You can either walking. It's not that far from the main Sultanahmet. So this tomb, let me back up. The tomb of the three sultans is right on the main street of Sultanahmet, which is called Divan Yolu. So that would be the next stop. Would be Beyazıt Meydani. You can walk, as I said, or you can take the tram stops there. That's the main tram stop for the Grand Bazaar as well, if you don't want to walk to the Grand Bazaar. So Beyazıt Meydani is a square where you have the masjid and mosque of Sultan Beyazıt II, and you have the main entranceway to Istanbul University, which during the Ottoman Empire times was the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the Ottoman Empire, which then got converted into Istanbul University after the proclamation of the Turkish Republic in 1923. I've never been to the Beyazıt II Mosque and Masjid. I wanted to go on this visit in 2019. It's completely under renovation, so it's closed. So I can't give you a lot of details about it, other than it is a masjid which contains the tomb of Sultan Beyazıt II. So not much you can see there. The next stop is Süleymaniye. Now, public transport does not go up to Süleymaniye, so you will have to walk there. But it's a fascinating walk. You walk through parts of streets of shops and bazaars, very, very close to the Grand Bazaar entrance as well. Literally, you get the feeling that you were walking in history. I love that walk because you really get the feel of old Istanbul, how Istanbul could have been during the time of the Ottoman Empire. the old cobblestone streets, old buildings. It's extraordinarily fascinating. I thoroughly enjoy it. So the walk from Beyazıt Meydani to Süleymaniye, it's probably about a 15 to 20-minute walk, I would say. Once again, there are inclines there. It's a very hilly area. Now, Süleymaniye is the masjid and the tomb of Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent. So Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent is considered the greatest sultan of the Ottoman Empire. He had the longest reign of any sultan, close to 50 years. It was during his reign that the Ottoman Empire reached its height territorial-wise, influence-wise, power-wise at that time. The architecture in the inside of the Masjid Mosque is very nice. It's very similar, kind of similar to the Sultan, to the Blue Mosque, but luckily this is not under renovation, so you get to see the intricate designs of the domes on the inside. This is a working masjid, so for my non-Muslim viewers, you cannot enter the masjid during prayer and namaz time, and you can't enter that section where prayers and namaz are being offered at during the non-prayer and namaz times. For my Pakistani viewers, or obviously you are Muslim, you can go there obviously to offer your prayers or namaz there. The grounds are very nice. You get great sweeping views of the city from the grounds of Süleymaniye. There are also many old-fashioned restaurants which serve pilaki or beans there, which is one of my favorite dishes. Also, the tomb of Sultan Süleyman the Magnificent and his wife are there. Once again, follow the same protocols if you're entering a masjid. If you're a woman, please wear a scarf or a shawl to cover your hair. The next stop is the Fatih Sultan Mehmet Mosque or Masjid. So this is the tomb of Fatih Sultan Mehmet II, the Ottoman Sultan who conquered Istanbul. This area is very fascinating to walk there because this is one of the most conservative parts of the city. So you'll see women, most of the women will be wearing headscarves. The men will have beards there. Once again, it's very old city, so you get that kind of feel of how old Istanbul would have been at that time. Once again, the design of the masjid is very, it's not as grand as Süleymaniye, but the design is also fairly interesting. It is a working masjid as with Süleymaniye. And as I mentioned earlier in some of my earlier videos, there's no entrance fee to go into masjids and mosques, so you don't have to worry about any entrance fees going there. The same thing, the Fatih Sultan Mehmet's, the Sultan Mehmet II's tomb and the tomb of his wife are on the grounds there, so you can pay your respects. Now, because of the proximity to the Grand Bazaar, many people will, after seeing Süleymaniye and Fatih Sultan Mehmet, will go back into the Grand Bazaar. You can do that if you want during the second day trip. If you don't want to have an exclusive shopping day at the Grand Bazaar, you can do that. And you can, from the Grand Bazaar, walk to the Spice Market, which is an experience all in its own. I'll describe that in a later video. So some people will want to do that instead of having just an exclusive shopping day. So if you want to do that, you can. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. So that's it for this video. My next video, I will be talking about the newer European part of Istanbul, including Dolmabahce Palace, the Ortaköy neighborhood, Taksim, Istiklal Caddesi, and the Galata Tower. So until then, thank you.